Hello, comic friends. Welcome to the first episode of Tales from the Vault. So, in this series, what I'm going to be doing is cracking open the vault where I keep some of my better books, pulling out some number of them as is warranted, and just talking about them a little bit. It could be I'm talking about those particular copies themselves and what they mean to me, or it could be talking about just the book and its importance, or a number of importances. So I thought it'd be just a fun little set of videos that I could start up, and I like diving into my vault every once in a while and flipping through stuff and looking at stuff and enjoying them. This just gave me another reason to go ahead and do that and pull out books that are meaningful in some way, either to me personally or just to comics or the hobby in general. So I felt it would be appropriate for this first episode to go over my first major comics purchase. So I had been into comics for a while. This probably would have been early 2000s. And, I'd been buying, like, new comics and stuff like that. I'd purchased a number of key issues, not a whole lot. Nothing major, at least major at the time. I'd picked up, like, a New Mutants 98, which it sounds like, oh, that's a big key. Back then, it really wasn't. It wasn't that expensive back then, so it wasn't really a major. That wasn't really a major purchase. Maybe some of the little things here and there. At the time, I worked at a comic book shop as just a part-time funsies job, where I met a lot of really good people and made a lot of friends that are lasting relationships to this day. But I dropped $20 here, maybe $50 here and there for a key issue or something like that. But I was still mostly just getting stuff off the shelf. Then to do that in that comic shop, they had bought a collection or part of a collection, bought a handful of books that I was obviously very interested in. And I decided to go ahead and work with the owner and put together a deal for me for some of these. And it was a big deal for me. It was definitely the most I'd ever spent on comics by far. And it's what really, really started, like kick-started my comic book collecting. Other than, the occasional, oh, I like this character, I'll get an old issue of them or their first appearance. Nothing major. But this is what really restarted. Like, okay, I'm a legitimate collector now. I'm going to be working towards becoming a legitimate collector now. So I got all of these and a couple other things I didn't bother pulling out, but I will mention. So it was, these 4 books. There's like an Aquaman number 3. Nothing significant, but I always been an Aquaman fan, and it was just sort of in that group. So I'm like, I'll pick that up. A Flash 123, which is the first Flash of Two Worlds. If you look at kind of cover of the Silver Age Flash and the Golden Age Flash running towards the guy that has the girder falling on him. In rough shape. It had like water damage and all that, but it was like, I've always liked alternate universes, alternate realities, and that cover's iconic, and it was there, and it wasn't horribly expensive for what it was. So yeah, I had to throw it on there, and I was trying to put together a deal. So the more you throw on, the better sort of deal you hope to get kind of across everything. So it was those 2 things, and then these 4 books. Which I'll go over in some particular order. I had purchased these all raw. These 4 I've since had graded, just because I needed to have them graded. So this was... That's rude. My phone's going off. So I since have them graded, reasonably so. But again, these, no matter what else comes in my collection, these will always hold a special place for me because, again, it's what really, really got me on this path of legitimizing my collection. All right, so we have a Fantastic Four #2. This is the first appearance of the Skrulls and the last time the Fantastic Four are in their street clothes. So Fantastic Four #1 and Fantastic Four #2, they didn't have costumes, the unstable molecule costumes. They were just in street clothes. And in issue #3 is where they get sort of the iconic costumes that they kind of just still wear today. So if you look in the notes here, so it's second appearance of the Fantastic Four, first appearance of the Skrulls, last 10-cent issue, and Thing pinup. It has creamed off-white pages. It is a 3.5. It's not in the best shape. It looks like it does have, you can see it on the back really well, there's quite a bit of tanning. And I believe there might be some water damage to it. Yeah, you can, I don't know how well you'll see it here. You can maybe kind of see it there. This I could probably, I had this slabbed way before I started doing any sort of pressing. So this I could probably crack out and press. Maybe not. I mean, there's a lot of tanning on the back. But anyway, it's Fantastic Four #2, you know. Obviously it wasn't in the best shape. It got it into a shape that's more, you know, reasonable for me financially. Yeah, I thought it was really exciting. It was the first appearance of the Skrulls. Like that's a huge race in the Marvel Universe. So that was really cool to me, no matter what the condition was, you know. This is early 20s Titan. I was teaching. Man, what was I doing at that time? Oh, I wasn't even teaching yet, because I was still in college at the time. No, I was just out of college. I was tutoring. Working at the comic shop, and waiting tables. I had 3 jobs at that time. But the 3 jobs were tutoring, working at a comic shop, and waiting tables. So none of them were really bringing in major bank. So even at this condition, it was just a cool book to have. The next one is also another Fantastic Four. I'm not really sure which one is more impressive. Probably this one. It's a little bit later issue, but it is what it is. It is Fantastic Four #48. So this is the first appearance of Silver Surfer and Galactus. Galactus cameo. With Watcher, Inhumans, and Skrull appearances. This is a 6.5 with white pages. White pages. At 6.5. That's banging. So this was part of this lot. And it's a good looking copy. I mean, a 6.5 for Silver Surfer. I'm not upset about that. This one, I'd probably... It's been a while since I looked at these. Man, I probably should crack this. And clean and press it. Because again, these were all encapsulated well before I started cleaning and pressing. The first appearance of Galactus. I don't have to sell you on this book. This is a great book. 6.5, I think, is a great grade for this. I was super stoked about the condition of this to have then, and I'm still super okay with a 6.5. I have sort of some standards for what I want books to be in. It depends upon the age of the book. It depends upon what the book is and how much I care about it and things like that. But I'm not one that like, oh, if it's not a 9 something, it's not worth having. Of course, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. 6.5 is a beautiful looking book. If this book in a 4 can be a beautiful looking book. I didn't get it to resell it or to make money off of it. I got it because I wanted it and I wanted it in my collection. The fact that it is worth more now is great. And in case, I do ever have to sell it, forbid. But it is a beautifully presenting copy of this. And it's the first Silver Surfer. I mean, come on. It could definitely benefit from a clean. Yeah. But hey, so far, not bad for a first major comic purchase. And it only gets better. So, Tales of Suspense 39, the first appearance of Iron Man. To have this, when I was young, little itty bitty Titan, first getting into comics, I really, really liked Iron Man. The idea of the iron suit and all that was super, super cool to, like a 10-year-old. That's so cool. Iron Man, it's hard to think about now because of all of the attention and recognition he has because of the MCU and how Robert Downey Jr. really revitalized and breathed new life into the character. It's hard to think about that. For a long time, Iron Man wasn't that big of a deal. He was always around. He's a founding member of the Avengers. He hung out with, there's that. Tales of Suspense turned into the Iron Man and Cap book. But he really, it's especially around the time before that first Iron Man movie came out. He wasn't really selling real well. But I always loved him. I always loved this classic suit and this classic cover. The Who? It's Iron Man. So this copy, I am real happy with the 5.0 on this. It's off-white pages. The one thing that bugs me the most is this line that's kind of drawn in the S, but not really well. But a book this old, it didn't deter from the grade. It's just more of a visual blemish for me. But I am super happy with it. Super happy with it. And I was super happy for it then. I mean, just 22, 23-year-old Titan just getting, being in love with comics for a long time. And I had read Iron Man. I was one of the few that was reading Iron Man at that time. But to get his first appearance, this is big. This is a big book. Now and then. So for me to be able to get my hands on this was pretty incredible. And the last one, I think this is kind of a toss-up between the Tales of Suspense 39 and this one, is The Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is a big book. It's kind of a toss-up. This is a full grade lower. It's a 4.0. This is off-white, 2 white pages. That's pretty good. It has a chunk taken out of the corner there, which is, why it's a 4.0. Other than that, this thing is beautiful. If it wasn't for that, this would probably be a 6. But it's part of what made it more feasible for me to buy. If this had been complete, if it didn't have this missing corner, it would have cost quite a bit more. Given yesterday, it'd be worth quite a bit more. But at the time, I'm thinking I had to dip into a rainy day fund to get these, and it wasn't an exorbitant amount at that time. I don't know who out there was collecting in the early 2000s, but things were a lot cheaper back then than they are now. But for someone who was just out of college, it was a good chunk of change. So, which of these is a bigger book? It's hard to say, because this is the first appearance of Iron Man. Yeah, this is Amazing Spider-Man 1. First appearance of J. Jonah Jameson and the Chameleon. But not obviously not first appearance. That's Amazing Fantasy 15. But it's still, and that iconic cover, obviously a Fantastic Four appearance. But yeah, that was, it was really like these two were the big ones, obviously. And then it was like, well, if I'm making this deal, let's throw this in. Let's throw this in. And then the Flash 123 and the Aquaman 3. Just because. If I told you what I paid for all 6 of those books, you would not believe me. You would not believe me, based on what those things are worth now. It was at the time it was a lot of money. It was, like I said, I was just out of college, so it was a major purchase for me. Like I had to talk it over with my girlfriend at the time. I had talked to my dad, like, look, I'm thinking about doing this. It's a lot of money for me, but I think it's a really good opportunity. And it turned out it was a good opportunity. Like that, they have increased in value very well. But it was a really big deal. And I pulled the trigger, and I never regretted it. And I usually get that regrets of, like, when I buy something, especially something that's big, I instantly regret it. Not this. So for someone who is a longtime comic lover, and was interested in getting into collecting and series collecting, for that to be my first big purchase, that really put me over. Be like, all right, we're doing this, because again, this purchase doesn't just symbolize getting these books. It symbolizes so much more to me personally. All right, comic collecting, we're in. You can't dabble. You can't get books like this and just be dabbling, right? If you're buying stuff like this, you are in. And this is what did it. This is what pushed me over to become the collector that I am today. So that's it. That's my first tale from the vault. I felt it was appropriate for the first episode to really look into the origins of my own personal collecting. So let me know what you think, and let me know. I'm interested, down below in the comments. What was your first purchase? What was your first thing that got like, all right, I'm a serious collector now. I am doing this, or just some really, really big purchase of that really made you happy, of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I own this. I can't believe I never would have thought I'd own this. And then it worked out for you, and you did. Let me know what those are. I'd love to talk to you about those. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. And if you have any requests for types of things you'd like me to dig out of the vault for the next thing, I'm open to all kinds of things. Talking about some sort of significant book, just as far as comic history goes, or so that's personal to me, like, I don't know, favorite book, favorite cover. Gonna do things like most valuable stuff, or favorite Batman books or something like that. Just let me know, because then there's plenty of stuff for me to go through and pull out and talk about. And as you can tell, this is video. Because of comics, I can talk. Yeah, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that, and as always, don't forget to make yours Titan. This video was brought to you by Titan Comic Pressing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Titan Comic Pressing LLC.